What if you could send money to anyone, anywhere in the world, almost instantly, and with practically no fees? Meta, the company behind Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram, is getting ready to flip a switch that could make that a reality for nearly 3 billion people. This isn't just another feature, it's a direct challenge to the entire banking system, and it's all happening right now. According to reports, Meta is targeting the second half of 2026 to roll out stablecoin payments, a move that could fundamentally rewire how money moves across the globe. Now, this isn't a repeat of their failed Libra project from 2019. This time, the plan is smarter, leaner, and maybe even more dangerous. They're not creating their own currency. Instead, they're partnering with a financial giant, Stripe, to plug a new kind of money directly into the apps you already use every single day. We're going to break down exactly what this news means, how this new system is designed to completely bypass the traditional banking world, and most importantly, what it means for your money. Because this isn't just about crypto anymore, it's about the biggest distribution play in the history of finance. Before we get into Meta's plan, let's talk about the problem it's trying to solve. The way money moves around the world today is, frankly, broken. It's slow, it's expensive, and it's built on technology from the 1970s. Let's make it real. Imagine a graphic designer in Southeast Asia who just finished a project for a company in the US. The client owes them $500. For that payment to actually get there, it has to crawl through a maze of financial middlemen. First, the US company starts a wire transfer, and their bank takes a fee. Then, the money enters the SWIFT network, a shockingly ancient messaging system for banks, which can take days to process. It might get passed through one or two correspondent banks along the way, and you guessed it, each one shaves off a little piece for itself. Finally, days later, it arrives at the designer's local bank, but it's in US dollars. So, the bank converts it to the local currency, often at a terrible exchange rate, and takes another fee for the trouble. By the time the money lands in the designer's account, 3 to 5 business days later, that $500 payment might have shrunk down to $450. That's a 10% loss, just to move digital numbers from one screen to another. The same problem hits families sending money home, creators getting paid by platforms, and international businesses just trying to operate. The current system taxes global commerce with billions in pointless fees every year. This is the problem Meta and Stripe are trying to solve, and their solution threatens to make this whole messy process obsolete. So this is where the big story picks up. Meta is reportedly planning to integrate dollar-pegged stablecoin payments across Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, with a target launch in the latter half of 2026. To get why this is such a huge deal, you have to understand why it's so different from their last attempt. Remember back in 2019 when Meta, then Facebook, announced Libra? Their plan was huge: create a new global currency run by a group of companies. Regulators worldwide freaked out. They saw a private company with billions of users trying to print its own money, something that could threaten the US dollar and give a corporation way too much power. The regulatory blowback was so intense that the project, later renamed DM, completely fell apart and was sold for parts in early 2022. Meta learned a painful lesson. This time, they are not creating their own coin. A Meta spokesperson has been clear: there is still no Meta stablecoin. Instead, they're taking a much smarter arm's-length approach by outsourcing the financial plumbing to a partner. And all signs point to that partner being the fintech giant, Stripe. So, what's a stablecoin? Simply put, it's a digital dollar. It's a crypto token pegged one-to-one to a real-world asset, like the US dollar. For every one stablecoin out there, there's one US dollar held in a bank or in short-term government bonds as a reserve. This is what keeps it stable, unlike other cryptos. It isn't a speculative investment, it's built to be a payment tool. And why Stripe? The connection is almost too perfect to be a coincidence. Stripe's CEO, Patrick Collison, sits on Meta's board. More importantly, Stripe has been quietly buying up key crypto infrastructure companies. In 2024, they acquired Bridge, a stablecoin platform. In 2025, they bought Privy, a crypto wallet company. And in February 2026, Stripe's subsidiary Bridge got a conditional national trust bank charter from US regulators, which lets them handle crypto custody and reserves under federal watch. Stripe has been methodically building the perfect engine for exactly what Meta wants to do. This new strategy is brilliant. Meta gets to control the experience for its 3 billion users, while Stripe handles the regulated, messy parts of payments and compliance. It's a move that neatly sidesteps the landmines that blew up Libra, while still going after the same revolutionary goal. If you want to stay ahead of how the world's biggest companies are rewriting the rules of money, take a second to subscribe. We break down stories like this every week to help you understand what these massive shifts really mean for you. So how does this new system actually cut out the old one? Let's go back to our graphic designer. In the old world, you had a chain of at least 4 or 5 middlemen: the sender's bank, SWIFT, a correspondent bank, the recipient's bank, and a currency exchange. Every step added time and cost. In the new world powered by Meta and Stripe, the process is radically simpler. The US company paying the designer would use a new in-app wallet Meta plans to build into Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. They'd load their US dollars into this wallet, and on the back end, Stripe's bridge platform would instantly convert them into a dollar-pegged stablecoin. Then, the company just sends those digital dollars to the designer's WhatsApp, as easily as sending a photo. The stablecoins travel over a blockchain network on a decentralized ledger that doesn't need any banks, and arrive in the designer's wallet in seconds, not days. The cost? Instead of losing $5 10% to fees, the transaction might cost just a few cents. The designer now has digital US dollars in their wallet. They can hold onto them as a stable store of value, especially if their local currency is volatile, or cash them out into their local currency through an exchange connected to the wallet. And here's the most important part. The entire traditional banking infrastructure is completely cut out of the loop. No more wire systems, no more correspondent banks, no more insane foreign exchange fees. It's a direct connection, made possible by Meta's social network and Stripe's crypto plumbing. For the user, all the complexity is hidden. They won't need to know what a blockchain or a stablecoin is. They'll just see a pay button, and the money will show up on the other side of the world instantly and for next to nothing. This is what makes it a paradigm shift. It replaces a system of gatekeepers with a system of open rails. So what happens when you potentially flip this switch for 3 billion people? The ripple effects are massive. Let's break it down. For everyday users, the biggest change will be in cross-border payments. Sending money to family abroad is a lifeline for millions. WhatsApp is already the main way many of these families communicate. Building a near-free instant payment layer directly into the app is a total game changer. It could save families hundreds of dollars a year and give them immediate access to funds in an emergency. It could also give people in countries with shaky currencies a way to save in a stable digital dollar. For creators and small businesses, this is a revolution in cash flow. Today, creators on many platforms wait 30, 60, even 90 days to get paid. With stablecoin payments, settlement is instant. The second a brand pays you or a fan buys your product, the money is in your wallet, ready to go. On top of that, businesses using Instagram or Facebook shops could avoid the typical 2-3% credit card processing fees, a huge saving. Now for the big picture, the establishment. This move is a direct assault on the business models of traditional financial companies. Giants like Visa and MasterCard, which live on transaction fees, are suddenly facing a competitor with a totally different cost structure. Banks that profit from wire transfers and currency exchange are bypassed entirely. Meta isn't just adding a feature, it is building a parallel financial network with a user base that dwarfs the world or S largest banks. This also puts Meta in a high-stakes race with other tech giants like Elon Musk's X and Telegram, who are both chasing the super app dream. It's a sprint to become the financial dashboard for the next generation. Now, this isn't a done deal. There are some serious hurdles and risks here. Even with Meta outsourcing the financial side, you can bet regulators will be watching like hawks. The passage of the Genius Act in 2025 created a legal framework for stablecoins in the US, which is what makes this attempt possible. But regulators are still finalizing the rules around consumer protection and fraud. And then there's the issue of privacy. This is Meta, after all. The idea of handing one of the world's biggest data gathering companies a front row seat to your financial life is a real concern that needs to be addressed with total transparency. Finally, there's the risk of creating new gatekeepers. While this system gets rid of the old ones, it could concentrate enormous power in the hands of Meta and Stripe, potentially crushing competition down the road. But even with these risks, the momentum is hard to ignore. The quiet, steady growth of stablecoin transaction volumes is already happening, completely separate from the speculative crypto markets. Meta is just recognizing this trend and using its unmatched distribution to rocket it into the mainstream. And what we're seeing here is a genuine turning point. The story isn't about buying speculative crypto. It's about the underlying technology, stablecoins, being used to solve a massive real-world problem on a scale that's hard to comprehend. Meta's plan to weave these digital dollars into the daily lives of 3 billion people is a fundamental challenge to the financial world as we know it. By partnering with Stripe, Stripe found a clever way to chase the grand vision of Libra without all the political drama. They are working to transform money from something you have to go to a bank to move into something you can send as easily as a text message. The reported target is the second half of 2026, which gives us all a front row seat as the blueprints for a new global payment system are laid. This is one of the biggest stories in finance and tech, and it's really just getting started. Now I want to hear from you. Once this feature goes live on WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook, would you use it? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments.